Alright, Shalom, Shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, the Abban, Son, the elders, and the apostles, GMS, all the brothers doing the work, the 144,000 hopeful elect. And tonight, I'm going to do a real quick video on the 3 service members that died in the drone attack. It says right here, it says pressure to respond mounts after U.S. service member killed in Jordan drone attack. But first, let's go here. And I'm going to read this real quick because the 3 that died was 3 Israelites. I think two females and 1 male, and all 3 was Israelites. But let's go here, right? And this is dealing with the children of Israel, the Lord speaking. All right, this is Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, says the Lord, who take counsel but not of mine. Right? They take counsel in Esau, Edom's army. And it says, and who devises plans but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, who walk to go down to Egypt and have not asked my advice, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. Right? They strengthen themselves in the strength of the President Biden, and trust in the shadow of Egypt. Right? And trust in Babylon, aka America. Therefore the strength of Pharaoh shall be your shame. Alright, the strength of Biden shall be your shame, and trust in the shadow of Egypt, Babylon, America shall be your humiliation. Alright, that's the main. Alright, I just want to read that real quick, but let's go to the video, right, and let's continue with it.
I'm curious if you have any information here on concerns.
Start from the beginning. Start from the beginning.
Of course, we begin here with our big story. U.S. officials are saying the enemy drone that hit a U.S. base in Jordan was possibly confused with an American drone. Now, this comes as the Iranian Foreign Ministry is denying any involvement in that attack that killed 3 American service members. And we now know the names of those Army reservists. 46-year-old Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, 24-year-old Kennedy Landon Sanders.
Right, and you, like I said, it's 3 Israelites, right? So, right, we got two females, right, and then 1 male, Jake, right, and they joined the Edomite American Babylon army. So, like I said, you're supposed to join to Esau's army. So that's a big no-no for the Israelites. But let's continue with the video, and I'll bring up some more scriptures later on in the middle of the video. Right, let's continue.
And 23-year-old Brianna Alexandria Moffett, all from the state of Georgia. The attack marking the first line of fire deaths for U.S. troops since the start of this Israel-Hamas war. President Biden vowing to retaliate as the Pentagon says the U.S. will respond at a, quote, time and place of our choosing. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin speaking sternly today about the strike during his first day back to work following his secret hospitalization. Take a listen.
Let me start with my outrage and sorrow for the death of 3 brave U.S. troops in Jordan and for the other troops who were wounded. The President and I will not tolerate attack on U.S. forces, and we will take all necessary actions to defend the U.S. and our troops.
Well, for more on this, we turn now to our Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary, Sabrina Singh. Sabrina, thank you for joining us on what I know has been a very busy day for you. So let's jump right in here. In terms of U.S. response, National Security Spokesperson John Kirby also said, there's no easy answer here. So, Sabrina, as the Biden administration is weighing options, is a direct target inside Iran a possibility?
Well, thanks for having me. Look, this is something that the president is going to make a decision about with his National Security Council and his national security team on what makes the most sense when it comes to a response. And I certainly won't get ahead of the president or my bots here, but certainly options are on the table. We know that Iran continues to arm, equip, train, and support these IRGC militant groups that have been launching attacks.
And this all going to lead up to World War III. Right, so real quick before I continue with the video, let's go to Jeremiah. We're going to read this real quick, then we'll continue with the video. Alright, going to 51, Jeremiah 51. Alright, it says, the utter destruction of Babylon. Right, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, against those who dwell in Leb Kamiah and destroy and win. And I will send winners to Babylon, who will winnow her and empty her land. Alright, empty her land, for in the day of doom they shall be against her all around. Against her let the archer bend his bow, and lift himself up against her in his armor. Do not spare her young men, utterly destroy all her army. See that? Utterly destroy all her army. That's going to lead to World War III, the situation, and all the situation that's going over there in the Israel and Hamas war. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of Chaldeans, and thus thrust through in her streets, and those thrust through in her streets. For Israel is not forsaken, nor Judah, but his God, the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee from the midst of Babylon, and everyone save his life. Do not be cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He shall recompense her. Alright, let's go to 7. Babylon was the golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunk. The nations drank her wine, therefore the nations are deranged. Babylon has suddenly fallen and been destroyed. Wail for her, take up balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone to his own country, for her judgment reaches to heaven, and is lifted up to the skies. Alright. And we'll just go back to the video, but the main point I wanted to bring out is in 8, Babylon has suddenly fallen and been destroyed. Right, this is going to be World War III, and the nuclear destruction that's going to happen here in America. Well for her, take up balm for her pain, perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone to his own country, for her judgment reaches to heaven, and is lifted up to the skies. And right, and judgment is being brought out against Babylon, aka America, with its drone strike and the drone attack in Jordan against the 3 service members in the base. But the 3 Israelites died because the Lord don't want the Israelites to be adjoined to Esau's army right in these last days. But before, back in the day, Jacob joined the army and nothing really happened. You just go in and come out and get money and whatever, benefits and all that. But now we're in the last days, so the Lord's taking out, gonna basically about to bring World War III. So any Jake, Eve or whatever joined up to Esau's army gonna be taken out with Esau in this coming World War III. That's gonna pop off pretty soon. So let's continue with the video.
In Iraq and Syria, but again, I'm not going to get ahead of the president or any decisions he's going to make.
Understandable. Are you able to share anything in terms of how the Pentagon is advising the White House in terms of timing?
No, again, as the secretary likes to say, and it's true, we own the clock here, and so we will respond at a time and place of our choosing when we feel we will make the most impact, when we feel we will inflict the most cause onto these Iran-backed militia groups who, of course, are responsible for the death of 3 of our service members just yesterday and have inflicted injuries to many, many more across in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. But it's really at a time and place of our choosing, and that's why we own the clock.
Yeah, you mentioned some of these numbers today in an earlier press conference. They were
and she's wrong. The America, Esau, Edom's army don't own no clock. Yahweh, the Creator, God, owns the clock. And when he wants y'all to do y'all plans of retaliating and starting up World War III, the beginning stages of World War III, he owns the clock, not you, Esau, Edom, America's Babylon army. You don't own the clock. The Lord owns the clock, Yahweh. So like I said, you got no power. The Lord has the power. Right? We're gonna read that in the scriptures. Right? Let's continue with the video.
Staggering. You mentioned over 160 attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. So, Sabrina, is there any thought that the previous U.S. retaliatory strikes here in the region have been ineffective?
Look, we know that every time we strike or we take dynamic strikes, whether it be in Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen, whether it be in Iraq or Syria, we are wiping capabilities off the map for these groups to use again. So the capabilities, the systems, the weapons that they had access to yesterday, they don't have access to those again today because we have fully degraded or completely destroyed some of what has been stored at either weapons facilities or other targets. Again, it is on these groups to decide when they stop their attacks, but we will continue to respond, and we will do so at a time and place of our choosing when we feel that it is the right time to strike.
And sources have confirmed to us here at ABC that this enemy one-way attack drone was confused for a U.S. drone that was returning from the base around that same time. Sabrina, is there any guidance on how something like that could happen or where this drone originated from?
Yeah, in terms of the origination, that's something that we're looking into right now. Central Command is also conducting an investigation into what happened. How did this drone evade our air defenses and be able to impact at living quarters where many of our service members are live and stay?
It was able to evade your detection because the Lord made it that way, right? Everything is under Yahweh's control, God's control. So that's why it was able to evade your detection and was able to strike your air base, U.S. base, right? So it was the Lord that did that, right? So that's why that happened.
So that's something that we are reviewing right now. I don't have more for you at this time other than that I'm going to let Central Command lead that investigation and figure out how to avoid these attacks in the future and prevent future injuries to our service members.
I know there's so many conversations and so much knowledge to be gained, and I know you'll share that with us when you're able to, so I appreciate that. And lastly, I'm curious if you have any information here on concerns that a response by the U.S. to these Iranian attacks, or these Iranian-backed militant attacks, I should say, would impact hostage negotiations that are ongoing.
Well, we view these as two separate things, two separate incidences that are happening. Again, we have been very clear that we do not want to see what's happening in Gaza spill out into a wider conflict in the region. We believe these can be contained into...
No, it's not going to be able to be contained because it's going to escalate and it's going to lead to World War III. So, like I said, this is going to lead to World War III, and you're not going to be able to contain all these attacks that's going on in that region. So Esau, Edom's army, and the government can go on and squash that idea because it's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to contain this. This is the end of Esau's age of rulership. So, like I said, it's going to lead to World War III. Right, let's continue with the video.
Two separate events. What's happening in Israel and Gaza and what's happening to our service members in Iraq and Syria. We don't believe that should impact hostage negotiations in any way. These are IRGC-backed militias that are firing, that are striking our forces, and we will respond back, but that should not impact hostage negotiations at all.
All right, Sabrina saying from the Pentagon, truly thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. And I want to bring our big story now to our panel here. So joining us today is our ABC News contributor and SiriusXM radio host, Mike Muse, our ABC News contributor and former Republican Congresswoman for Virginia, Barbara Comstock, and ABC News political contributor and former Democratic U.S. Senator from North Dakota, Heidi Heitkamp, and ABC News senior Pentagon reporter, Louis Martinez. So, Louis, let's start here with you. Listen, we've heard from Sabrina a few times here today. I'm curious what your thoughts are there when she said, they can't provide us with the timing or the places in terms of which the U.S. could respond, but she did say they want to do it in the most impactful way and inflict the most cause. Louis, what do you make of that?
Well, Kena, it all comes down to the presidential decision about what kind of strike options he's going to choose, and essentially about what kind of repercussions could happen as a result of those strikes. Remember, it may not be just a military action. Could be a whole of government decision. It could be sanctions. It could be something else, something that we're not thinking of. I mean, I'm here at the Pentagon, and so you're asking me questions that will come up with answers focusing on U.S. military responses. But it could be something completely different outside of this sphere. But I think that right now, what we need to know is exactly what time frame they're looking at. And when they say time and place of our choosing, that means that they are making a very calculated decision, and it also means that they have to get the weapon systems in place if it's going to be something pretty significant.
Wow, all right. And Heidi, too, on that note, what kind of caution do you think the Biden and the national security team are considering in terms of potentially a strike in Iran? What else could they be considering here?
Well, I think all options are going to be on the table, but this is a reminder, stark reminder, losing 3 American lives, that we have to get back to stopping politics at the water's edge and making sure that we are supporting our allies and that our allies are supporting us. And so a tragic situation, very, very dangerous time given the potential of escalation, but really important that the president not just rely on his own advisors, but that he bring in and encourage the Republican leadership to support the decisions that they're making and have a unified American statement.
And Barbara, what's your take on that in terms of Republican leadership? We know Republican lawmakers are pushing the Biden administration to retaliate. So can the Biden administration count on bipartisan support for a retaliatory strike here?
I do think, particularly in the Senate, there's opportunity there. And I certainly agree with Heidi that there's very much a need for that. And I think with Senator McConnell, Senator Romney, Senator Risch, people who are leaders on the national security front and wanting to be supportive for the president on this and other issues. These are difficult needles for the president to thread. And even though the issues of this and the Hamas issue are separate, obviously how you handle this is going to impact the other. While we have, a ceasefire there, we want to make these things all work together.
And Mike, we've now learned the names of the service members that were killed in this drone attack there in Jordan. And now we have the faces of these, young service members. They've passed on. How does that change how Americans view this conflict and the escalation that we are seeing there in the Middle East?
I think when you put names and faces to a conflict, it resonates with the American public, and it humanizes the...
All right, you got 3 Israelites that died in Esau's army, right? Like I said, the Lord is done with Babylon, aka America, and its armies, and we're gonna read that before I close the video out. All right, let's continue and finish the video.
Story, and it humanizes the want for retaliation. When you were talking with Sabrina Singh just now, what stood out to me most is when she kept repeating to you, Kana, we own the clock.
No, you don't.
The way she said that so resolute, the way she was so calm about it, for me was an indicator that this administration is taking this attack serious, and that there will be a response that is measured, but understanding the nuance and difficulty of, 1, not wanting to expand a regional conflict within the Middle East, 2, not wanting to engage directly with Iran, 3, and its proxies, while understanding a response must be had. And so there was something about that we own the clock that lets us...
And they don't own the clock. Let's continue with, let's go to the scriptures. And I'll close out the video. I'm going to read all this in Jeremiah. We'll go down. All right, let's go down to 12. All right, we're going to 12. Let's read this. Set up standard on the walls of Babylon. Make the guards strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare for the ambushes. For the Lord has both devised and done what he spoke against the inhabitants of Babylon, America. O you who dwell by many waters, abundant in your treasures. Right, that's America. Your end has come. The measure of your covenantness. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, surely I will fill you with men as with locusts, and they shall lift up a shout against you. Right, let's continue. 15. He has made the earth by his power, right? This is talking about Yahweh, the creator God. He has established the world by his wisdom, and stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he utters his voice, there is multitude of waters in the heavens. He causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He made the lightning for the rain. He brings the wind out of his treasures. Everyone is dull-hearted without knowledge, and that's man. He has no knowledge. Every metalsmith is put to shame by the carved image, for For his molded image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are futile, a work of errors. In time of the punishment they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the maker of all things, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. See that? Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. That's the 12 tribes of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the other tribes. The Lord of hosts is his name. All right, you are the battle axe and weapons of war. For with you I will break the nations in pieces. This is talking about America. And with you I will destroy kingdoms. With you I will break the pieces, the horses and the rider. With you I will break in pieces the chariots and this rider. But I want to go down, and we're going to read 25. Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain. Right, this is talking about America, and who destroys all the earth. See that? See that? This is talking about America. They destroy everything. Right? They destroy the oceans, the land. Right? They dig in it. They pull out oil. They pour the oil out of the sea. They basically destroys of the earth. Right? It says right here, who destroys all the earth. This is talking about Esau, Edom. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked, and I will stretch out my hand against you. See that? Roll you down from the rocks and make you a burnt mountain, that they shall not take from you stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation, but you shall be desolate forever, says the Lord. See that? America will be desolate forever, right? With the nuclear destruction that's coming to America, aka Babylon. And with that, I want to give our praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the elders and apostles of GMS, all the brothers doing the work, the 144,000 hopeful elect. And with that, I want to say shalom, shalom to the next video. Shalom.